Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where a new BAND-MAID single has dropped just as I was about to go out to the shops and get some breakfast. How rude. Nonetheless, though, I'm excited to see what it is, and I'm the only person probably who's a BAND-MAID fan on Earth who has not listened to the new album, Conqueror, yet, because of the fact that I am still waiting loyally for the physical copy to arrive, which was released quite a long time after the digital copy, about a week difference, I think, between them. Anyway, so, as always, what happens on this channel, if you're not familiar with it, is I'm going to listen to the songs and give a reaction as from the perspective of someone who's worked with music for basically my entire life, but always I like to hear about the background and opinions from you guys. Music is subjective to opinion after all, so your opinions are just as relevant as mine, certainly. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I've been really interested coming up to Conqueror about the whole way that this album's being approached. I mean, I really like, I don't know if this is because of the change of record company, but I like the fact that this band, who have such fantastic musicians, they're getting more into their stride as the years pass as writers, and it sounds like they've had more time to work on this album properly, to really craft it. And as a result, it seems that there's lots of variation coming up in this album, something I personally love. Nothing wrong with them doing their usual hard rock thing. They're fantastic at that, but I love the fact this album seems to have more variation on it, and so I'm really looking forward to when I get a copy of the album and I can review the entire thing track by track. But we've already been reviewing all the singles, and they've been pretty eclectic so far, although the last one that they put out was Reno, which was a really good song, really heavy song. I didn't think it was the best thing that I've heard from this album, and we are always critical on this channel, by the way. We always try to give an honest opinion and try and look at the good and bad of everything, even from a band at such a high level as BAND-MAID. Yeah, they set their bar very high for themselves, though. That's all I'm going to say. So we try and be careful and think, by BAND-MAID standards, what's this going to be? So, you know, when it comes to this song, I don't know what to expect here, but Rene felt to me a little bit like they were trying to reassure fans, don't worry, we're still doing the heavy stuff, just in case a lot of people went, it's not hard rock anymore, and ran away. All I want to hear is I just want to hear good music, and that's what I'm hoping to get from here, be it hard rock or not. So this is the new single that has just come out now, which was Blooming. I still haven't wiped the sleep out of my eyes because I was sleeping in... Oh, my God. Oh, there we go. Better. I can see now. All right, Blooming by BAND-MAID. Let's go. Nice, thick, creamy guitar sound on this one. Nice vocal harmony. It's a very BAND-MAID style chorus, but it's really, really, really charging along brilliantly. Oh, that's cool. Those little touches you get with a good producer. Akane adding her usual signature flicks to the second verse. Loving it. The video's pretty cool as well, actually. Oh yeah. This is a great solo. I hope it charges through into the next section. Yeah, it's building up, building up. That's very BAND-MAID. But in all the good ways, in all the good ways. Beautiful layering. Guitar works nice, it's subtle, it's not too twiddly, it's just kind of the right amount to thicken up the song. Great second guitar harmony there. Ooh. Alright, so much to unpack on this one. Yeah, I mean, my honest opinion on that, I think, well, first of all, credit to the record company for, strange thing to say, but credit for the record company for releasing that as they did just after the albums come out, because that is that sort of one you do there. It's like, if you haven't been convinced so far by the singles up to this point, let us convince you now. That really, really worked. Now, obviously, as I say, we try to be critical as well and try to be honest. And I am going to be honest that probably the only negativity I can see in that is that, yes, okay, that doesn't really push any buttons or boundaries that BAND-MAID haven't done before. But that's not the point here. I think this, to me, really exemplifies this sound. In fact, to date, this is only the first time I've heard it. I'm just reacting to it now, obviously. And more listens will be required. But I think that's probably one of the most quintessentially perfect examples of the BAND-MAID sound. Really, really loved how they did everything there. The sounds are really nice as well. I mean, credit to the producer. Before I get onto the band themselves, credit as well to the producer. The producer did a fantastic job in keeping the sound was kind of thick and creamy, but it wasn't hard. You know, didn't lack that hardness. It didn't lack the impact. The impact was coming a lot from the drums, and the bass was sort of nicely played with to give it a little bit of chug. So the sounds were well, balanced in the mix there. The whole thing sounded, really, really like a lot of attention had gone into making it a mixture of something which was both, like I say, sort of creamy and thick and, had a sort of a listenable quality, wasn't overly raw, but still had all of the punch and rawness of a rock song. So, yeah, well engineered. The video as well, I really like the video. I mean, I know BAND-MAID have this history of doing music videos where it's just a performance video with here's the latest flashing lights environment we've decided to pick, and there seems to be this thing about quick cut cameras that never really show any of the members' faces. Even with Psyche, they tend to avoid showing faces, which I think is always an interesting approach. They do have a style to their videos, and I know they got the same director for a lot of them, but again, it works. And I think this was a beautiful example of how that happened with the lights and the little triangle things, getting Illuminati again. Yeah, Illuminati is like totally real in every music video. And the world is flat. And so, there was like nice little touches like that. I liked how during Kanami's solo, suddenly those light pole things, this weren't just changing colour, they then became multiple colours per pole. And it was all kind of like nicely done. It really accented the song as the song went along. The whole set was designed to play around with each part of the song. So that was a well-engineered video as well. You could really see what was happening, which you couldn't in Rene. Sorry. To me, that was a really good video to support it. So let's get on to the song itself. Now, the song, as usual, it's kind of hard to break it down directly in comparison to other BAND-MAID songs, because, like I say, this is kind of doing it's following a lot of the steps that you've heard from those classic singles. The sort of Don't You Tell Me's, the Dice. I go back for a few others there. I mean, you pick a sort of quintessential BAND-MAID song, even things like Domination, they kind of all have a similar structure that they work to, and this does those, but it really gets those steps right. The intro is great. I like the fact that the intro, when it comes in with that guitar bit, there's nothing too twiddly. Like I say, it comes to that, it builds to that. It just starts with a great counterplay between the two guitars. Some of the best songs really do this, and it tends to be a subtle thing that isn't so much played to the ear. Not played to really sort of grab you. It's just a subtle effect, which is having like one guitar doing a higher note, one doing a lower note, and you listen to them together and it builds up this sort of thick harmony between the guitars. rather than your usual thing where one's sort of playing the chords very clearly and the other's doing the twiddling very clearly. It was just a sort of nice thick sound that they went for here. Love the fact that Psyche's vocals started off fast and then got faster. You know, there was almost like a sort of hip-hop element to how fast it was going. There was a lot of punch in those bits. BAND-MAID were quite good at doing that in the first verse, you know, first verses, having those stabby sort of guitars. But this really worked well, and it gave a lot of room for Akane to do one of the best drum lines she's done thus far. I mean, she's always fantastic at taking what she hears in the song and extracting the most from it, you know, finding every little space. But as we say again, this is one of the things that I want to keep on coming back to, and I'm sorry if I'm kind of flogging a dead horse for this one, but I do think it's relevant, is that, you know, this is a band who, they have such fantastic musicians, and yet I think restraint is one of their strengths. They do not feel the need to bust your chops with like an 8-minute guitar solo or just going over the top. You listen to the drum work she does, she could do something more complicated. It's not the point. The point is that they know how to work as a band and extract the best from the songs in their own ways. And I think Akane really is on force here. I mean, the beat that she did in the verse, brilliant. You know, hypes it up in the chorus, great fills, all in the right places. The beat she does going into the bridge was really cool. I loved how that worked. And she obviously wasn't averse to letting the producer play around with sort of switch things up. I think it was at the beginning of the second verse where the producer just sort of lo-fis the whole drum recording. That was great from a rhythm side, really worked fantastically. Like I say, Psyche's vocals, brilliant. I think she carried off a much more rhythmically played. I mean, she's always very good with rhythm vocals, I noticed. But this is one of the most rhythmically playful ones she's done thus far. Had like a little twinge of hip-hop to how it sort of started to speed up and become more bouncy as it gets into the pre-chorus. The chorus, like I say, is very much kind of by the book, the way BAND-MAID do it, but it works. It's different enough that you can identify it from their other songs. It doesn't feel like a rehash. It just feels very much within their wheelhouse. And then credit, as always, has to go to Misa on the bass. I'm kind of going through everyone here because I do think that all of the members have their own individual parts. She was the one who I think played with the most restraint here. This was one of those songs where the bass didn't have to do much. Because, you know, simple like riff section, the first verse is kind of more down to guitar stabs than anything. The chorus is a bit of a charger, you know, sort of hard rock, almost punky style. There wasn't much for her to do, and I think that she took a very smart step here in being quite restrained in her playing. There were little moments of flash, but it was kind of, she did nothing to prove. And I just think, like I say, this song to me shows everyone doing what they need to do brilliantly. But the one I wanted to come on to last, obviously Miku, I always sort of say my favourite thing about Miku is, again, talking about the restraint, but because she's the only member of the band who is not, if you like, sort of classically trained level, she's the one who just kind of learnt for the band because she wanted to make a band. I think that she did her job of holding down the core of the song very well here, as always. But I really love the backing vocal thing she did. That sort of almost falsetto, really high-pitched thing. Gorgeous. Really nice, and really brought out some of the brightness in the sound. And this is important when you're doing rock music, even for a female rock band. And I've been saying this sometimes on our Discord chats as well, is when you're doing rock, it's important to concentrate a lot on the high sounds, because anyone can plug in a guitar and go for something really sort of gnarly and chugging and, aggressive. But if you want to give your song detail and identity, it's all in the higher pitched sounds a lot of the time, when so much is obviously going to be happening in those lower mid-range sounds. And those little things like the high pitched, sort of backing vocals and things give it a lot of life. And this is why Akane has so much room to shine, because she's obviously doing like the percussive stuff. So those little touches, like Miku's backing vocals, really helped give this those little moments where, it just turns from being what could have just been, hey, we play from A to B, here are the notes, to giving it those little touches that make it more exciting, give you those little bits which sort of play with your ears and make you go, oh, that's that bit, make every second interesting and unique. As always, the second verse was flipped up. Loved how they went to that sudden halftime thing and everything went, head bang, sort of deep bass and everything. Just everything about this, actually, I really enjoyed. So, as I say, from a critical standpoint, I do have to be honest and say the only critical thing I can say is it's a hard one to level, because I especially considering the tone of this album, and I can't wait to give you guys a track by track of all of the tracks, the ones that we haven't heard so far as single releases, when I get the physical copy of the album. But so I can't really critique this for being kind of just BAND-MAID doing BAND-MAID in the most BAND-MAID of BAND-MAID ways. because I'm pretty sure that every other indication I've got is that this album's going to be full of variation anyway, so they need to at some point stamp their identity. And if this is how they're doing it, then this is fantastic. There's always that risk when you start introducing news, and I do understand for fans who kind of don't want their favourite bands to change as much. That's not so much me. I like to hear every album be completely different. But for people who want BAND-MAID to maintain their core sound, this, to me, I think I would personally say, I'm looking forward to reading your opinions in the comments. Like I say, music's all about opinion after all. I think this is just such a perfect way to cement we can still do us if we need to. More so than Reno. Reno, like I said, was good, but I think that was just about sort of showing, hey, we're still heavy. We're still heavy. Don't worry about those more poppy songs. We're still heavy. This one, to me, is them really sort of showing themselves in the best light. And I'm not surprised, like I say, that the record companies saved this one so late to convince anyone who maybe hasn't been won over by the slew of single releases thus far. I just think this is a really good song, really much in their wheelhouse, and whereas I would normally, like I say, maybe say it was a little bit of a shame for not being, pushing the boundaries a bit more, considering the tone of how the album's going, and I will look at it in retrospect, but I'm pretty sure from what we've seen so far, like I say, just to repeat the point, it does seem that the new album is quite varied and eclectic. Therefore, that nullifies this complaint. So I think this is probably one of the best BAND-MAID does BAND-MAID songs we've heard to date, and I'm really happy, and I'm really also happy that it's got a video that seems to support it well. So anyway, I'm looking forward to your opinions. Am I just a bit more won over on this than everyone else? Do I like music more in the morning? Is that all this is? You guys let me know what you think. Really looking forward to seeing your opinions, and until I see you soon in Japan, for now, ciao ciao. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out more of our hundreds of videos we got online on this channel right now, or get involved in the discussion with us at the many social media links we've got in the description below, where you can suggest new videos and artists for us to check out on the channel. Or you can just do the usual YouTube stuff and comment, like, subscribe. You know how this works by now.